Hi, my name is Bruce McCracken. I'm the Managing Director of BMG Resources Limited, and it's my pleasure to be able to talk to you as a part of the 121 Mining Investment APAC Online Conference. So in terms of our company, BMG is an ASX listed gold exploration company. We have 3 great gold exploration projects, all located in Western Australia. You can see from the diagram, the Abercromby Project is located in the Wiluna region, the Invincible Project in the Central Pilbara, and the South Boddington Project in the Boddington area south of Perth. These projects are quite new to our company. We acquired them through the acquisition of Oracle Mining Limited, which was completed in October last year. So we've been focused on these projects now for 6 to 8 months. We see fantastic potential across them. So I'll talk about each one in turn. Looking at the Abercromby project to begin with, this is the most advanced in the portfolio. It's located south of Wiluna in the Perseverance Shear, Greenstone Shear Zone, which you can see, which hosts a lot of very large and very successful deposits and gold mining operations. This project sat idle in the portfolio of the base metals major prior to our acquisition late last year. For around 15 years, there was just no work done on it, which is quite extraordinary. There's been a lot of historical work that has been done. You can see some of the results there in the second bullet, incredible intersections, 57.5 metres at 5.73 grams, 30 metres at 10 grams, 36 at 4. So really high grade mineralisation, but just no work prior to our acquisition. So we were keen, once we secured the opportunities, to do some drilling, confirmatory drilling, really to ensure that the nature and continuity of the mineralisation was as we thought it was. So we undertook a drilling program in December 2020. And fortunately, we did confirm just that. You can see the 4th bullet, we did get some great intercepts, which I'll talk a little more about in a moment. But it did confirm high-grade zones within a broad mineralised envelope. The geology, as I mentioned, is very good. We're proximate or proximal to operating plants. So, looking forward, that's positive. So in terms of potential production, we think that there's certainly some good flexibility in terms of how we might consider that in the future. Just looking at the program we undertook, we only had an opportunity to drill sort of a limited number of holes. We got 13 holes for just under 3,000 metres. That wasn't all we wanted to do, but it was sufficient for what we wanted to achieve. It was a combination of diamond and RC. As I mentioned, all of the holes hit good mineralisation, and they did confirm the broad zones with wide intersections, including intervals of very, very high-grade material. We can see in the table some extracted results. 26 metres at 6 grams is a great one, including 7 at 21. The mineralisation is open along strike and at depth, so there's very great good potential to extend the size and the scope of the resource. It starts from near surface, which points towards potential for open pit mining, which is great. We were also able to undertake the metallurgical test work which across the weathering profile, both the oxide and the fresh rock material, and that confirmed that it is amenable to carbon in leach processing with very high gold recoveries achieved, which was fantastic. And encouragingly, the fresh rock material, which was the highest grade material, we undertook the work on, recovered at above 95%. Quickly looking at the drill holes that we put in, you can see that there's a number of northwest trending mineralised shear zones which steeply dip towards the northeast. In the diagram, you can see the L1, which is the western lode, the L2, which is the eastern lode, and then there's another area that's opening out up further to the east. The holes are marked, that we drilled are marked in the black, so there's 13 there, and you can see some of the historical, high-grade historic numbers that we've just marked on the diagram. These some sections that we have in the following slides, A and B, and then some long sections, which we'll quickly look at. But look, all in all, it was a pretty limited program, but it was very encouraging in that it delivered the confirmations that we were seeking. So it's still early days, but you know, we see fantastic potential. Quickly looking at, this is the A cross section. You can see the western and the eastern lodes with the broad mineralised zones and the high grade material open at depth. And then you can also see the flat lode that we've referred to, which is emerging further to the east. The B section, this was one of the holes that we drilled between two previous traverses, 50 metres apart. We drilled a hole between that. It hit great mineralisation, which was very encouraging. And we think this augurs well for further infill drilling, which suggests that there's great potential to discover more high-grade material as we start to close up the drilling program. Looking at the long sections, this is a gram metre section of the western lode. The purpose of this is really just to demonstrate that the whole of the diagram's mineralised, but the pink area is a very high-grade material, which is greater than 50 gram metres, and some of it's in the multiple hundreds of gram metres, which you can see from some of the intercepts that are indicated on the diagram. It shows that whilst it's still open at depth, it points towards mining from surface. And this is a similar indication from the section of the eastern lode. Again, open at depth, but high-grade material amongst a very broad mineralised envelope. So looking at the sort of the longer-term opportunity here, there's very significant exploration upside. We really just focused on a small part of the contact zone, 200 by 300 metres of, you know, what is a resource development envelope of well over a kilometre. There's some very high grade historic intercepts along strike that we haven't tested, and there's considerable areas to be tested within the area that we've focused. So, you know, we think that the potential to build a very significant resource within the capital north area is real, together with potential to step out along strike beyond capital north. You can see that there's further gold that's been highlighted with historic programs, and then there's additional targets even further to the south, some 4 kilometres away. So where does this take us? Look, in terms of our next work program, we plan to follow up our initial program in the next 1 to 2 months. with infill and extension drilling, together with looking deeper in the area around Capital, and then later in the year to step out along strike into the Capital North area. So that's Abercromby in a nutshell. Invincible, quickly, we can see that it's located along strike in the same stratigraphy as Calidus Resources Klondike deposit. We have 12.5 kilometres of the same shear zone, the Warrawoona shear zone. There's been artisanal working in our area historically, which has uncovered some very high-grade gold, but little systematic or modern exploration. So we see this as a fantastic opportunity to potentially make a new discovery of scale. Looking more closely at our tenement, you can see in the diagram, it's the yellow area that's outlined, taking in the Warrawoona shear zone. We think that there's strong potential for that area to host similar style deposits to that of Calidus, which is their Klondike's 1.5 million ounces about to come into production. So that's really what we're focused on. We know that there's high-grade gold in the area. It's a question of whether there's something of size, which is really the focus of our exploration. We've undertaken recently radiometrics and aeromagnetics, together with some soil sampling that's been done historically to identify a number of targets, which you can see as the red ellipses on the diagram. We're currently doing follow-up field work to verify those targets, together with further soil sampling, which we hope will put together a series of priority targets for drilling later on this year. So Invincible, in summary, it's obviously in a very exciting province. It's well located, it's well located, and we think that given the lack of recent work, it really does have strong potential to potentially deliver a significant gold deposit. South Boddington, this is a longer term opportunity. We have 2 areas under application in the Saddleback Greenstone Belt, which hosts Newmont's Boddington gold mine. They're the yellow areas which are marked on the diagram. We believe that, again, there's strong potential for additional gold deposits to be discovered within these areas, because it's largely unexplored or underexplored. So as a longer term opportunity, we think this is a nice project in the portfolio to complement Invincible and the Abercromby project. Looking at our work program going forward, Abercromby really will be the next focus with our drilling, which we hope to be underway in the next 1 to 2 months, with further work through the year. So some good news flow there. Invincible field work and the target definition should enable us to undertake a program later in the year there. And then South Boddington, once we secure the tenements, we'll carry out our exploration work as we go forward. So good news flow and good activity through 2021. Quickly, in terms of corporate overview, pretty straightforward capital structure, 240 million shares on issue. Directors and management hold 33%, so we're all strongly invested in the company and aligned to success. But the big takeaway is our EV is very low relative to the resource potential of our projects and the status of those exploration projects. And if we have a look at our share price versus the US dollar gold price, you can see that when we announced the transaction in August, there's been quite a strong correlation between our share price and the US dollar gold price, which is in the yellow, our share price in the blue. Until recently, there's a disconnect for some reason, despite our very strong results at Abercromby. We see this presents significant value upside from where we are today, together with what we hope will be good news flow and good development of our projects as we move forward. In terms of the directors and management team, John Pronaeus and John Dawson joined the board when we acquired Oracle, together with the technical team. So we have good commercial and technical experience in the company. So in summary, we have 3 great gold projects in Western Australia. They're all advanced, well, 2 advanced exploration. Abercromby, we've seen the results, very high grade results. We know there's good mineralisation there. It just needs work to define it. Invincible, historic, high grade gold recovered in our area. It needs work to look for potentially a much larger deposit. South Boddington, very well located, but much earlier stage. We have work programs coming along, so there should be good news flow and good activity through the remainder of 2021. And our value is very attractive at the moment for what we have even today relative to our share price, and certainly what we hope to achieve in the future. So that's a quick snapshot of the company. Please feel free to contact me if you want to discuss anything that that I've indicated in the presentation today, if you have any thoughts. So there's the contact details on the page. Thank you very much.